My name is Mike, and I like movies late at night. Today's review. Oh, yeah, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Michael Ray Hay Bauer, on this channel for a 2:30 in the morning California video, because I'm a vampire, and all I do is lie down, watch movies and TV shows, and I decided to check out this live stream and make sure it works. And I just wanted to see if I can actually go live for once in a while. This is my late night movie review segment where I review movies and TV shows late at night. It's 2:30 in the morning out here in California, California. Please do me a favor. Chime in on the chat room since I am live. Let me know if you can hear me, you understand me, if you're actually watching. I would truly, truly appreciate it. But other than that, we're going to go over the month of May, because I hurt my foot and I had to lie down even more than usual, and I watched a lot of TV series, a few different movies, and now I got off my butt and I decided, let me tell you guys what I'm watching. Let me review some of the films and TV shows that I've enjoyed and that I'm currently into and what I'm looking forward to. That being said, shows that we're just going to hang out, talk movies and TV shows, and do whatever we want to do for this day. We got a boy named Adam online. I appreciate you. You're my first one. I love you. Please do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up, that like, that subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications for when I go live, like now. So if you are at home in your bed or, master debating politics, you would have got a notification. Hey, Michael's live, finally. Let me get online and let me see what he's talking about. I like that dude a little bit. So hit the bell for notifications. And, also consider donating, super chatting during the video while we're hanging out talking about movies. I could truly use the support. I'm trying to pay my bills. I ain't gonna lie. And now let's quickly watch a commercial about the merchandise that you can get that is almost run out. Like, they were all limited and they're almost running out. So I gotta re-up the order or allow the company to make more. But please watch this commercial for the merchandise, then we'll get into some movies. And Peter Brady's online, a valued member of this channel. God bless you all the way from Australia. I love you, brother. So, let's watch this commercial. Consider picking up some merchandise. Code DonkeyLips in capital letters for 10% off. And I have added some new things. And I'm going to start selling personal items probably in the next week or two on that website. So check out the commercial, and all information is down below for merchandise links. Then we're going to come back and talk movies and TV shows. And another way you can support me, the creator of this content, is checking out my merchandise store with the links below. We got t-shirts for sale. Anything that I got available, I'm going to get it to you. Like DonkeyLips t-shirts. You love DonkeyLips. They come in a variety of colors. Why don't you pick yourself up one? Hey, become a camper, Camp on Awana. Pick up a personalized autographed photo sent to you. I also have cameos available that also come with a personalized autographed photo, shout out, sent to you from Cameo. And right now, limited Zeke the Plumber Plushy Nightmare t-shirts. That's right. Everything's limited. Everything's on sale. Support your boy, Michael Ray Haybauer. Links down below. Yeah! Also consider becoming a member on this channel for early and exclusive content and future members only live streams. That's right. I'm going to start doing members only live streams. Maybe in the middle of the night. Maybe early in the morning. Because I need to talk. I ain't got nobody in my life except Adam, Peter Brady, and Channel 8 that are in the chat room. And Wet Movies here. Wet Movies here at 2:30 in the morning. Don't you gotta work? Don't you gotta work, brother? What is tomorrow or today? Is it Saturday? I don't even know what's going on. I live the vampire lifestyle. I live that, like, you sleep all day, stay up all night, cry depressed in your bed. I'm struggling. I'm struggling, y'all, really badly. But with the faith and the love from you guys, I'm doing my best to come out of it and find the light, if you will. Pepperoni Roll Bandit. Pittsburgh in the house. Here we go, Steelers. Oh, God. I hate the Steelers. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm a Raider fan. Ain't nothing much happening for us right now either. So, I just got up to go to the bathroom and checked my phone. Wet movie shit. Hey, man, I love you. I hope you're feeling better. I know you went to the hospital recently. Yeah, it ain't no joke, man. Life ain't no joke, health-wise. All right, so like I said in this video, this is more about the movies and TV shows that I've been watching this entire month, since I sleep a lot and I lie down and all I do, and I hurt my foot pretty badly. And I just wanted to share with you guys what I'm basically doing in life. Content, sorry about the in and out of the light or the whatever. I don't know what's going on with my lighting, but it's going in and out. So I become brighter. I become less brighter. It's like my real life. You know, some days I'm happy, some days I'm not, you know. So I don't know what's going to happen with the lighting. We'll figure that one out later. See, I just moved and it changed. But yeah, content is life for me. And I just wanted to give you an insight into the stuff I watch, and I'm going to recommend some things. And while we're talking, chime in on your thoughts if you saw the film or the TV show and what you thought of and what you're looking forward to and all that other stuff. So, thank you, Anti-Vax. Love the t-shirt. Hey, boy, gotta go, but make a video of the Mandela effect with your take on it. Yeah, we're going to talk about a couple conspiracy documentaries that I just watched at the end of this video, so come back. And like I said, I'm working on a podcast, everybody. Please believe me, I am. And I'm trying to get my health and on a daily routine to give you guys some better stuff. So I love you guys. Let's go right to it. Thank you very much. Breadfin with some butter. All right, this is my movies that I watched in the month of May in no particular order, even though it will look alphabetical from the beginning. I was able to watch Ant-Man, Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I'll be honest with you, I consider Ant-Man as one of the weaker Marvel Universe characters, but it has always had one of the better storylines and character development of the Marvel Universe. So, I was looking forward to Quantumania for the personal stories about the family and all that other stuff. And again, my reviews are not going to be specific. They're not going to have the best words. It's going to be from a simple man's perspective. And they might not go into in-depth, or they might not last longer than 2 or 3 minutes each, because I got a lot to review here. But I was looking forward to Quantumania, but I'm tired of the special effects and the CGI, and it just hurts my eyes, and I'd rather see acting and storyline and development more so than CGI and all that. And this movie, it actually had a lot of special effects and CGI, but they were done pretty well. And I understood all of the action for the most part, and I enjoyed the storyline of the family trying to get out of the quantum realm, if you will. And again, not in depth, but I had a good time, and I enjoyed watching, you know, some of the creatures and the characters and that whole new world of, you know, I guess they call it the quantum realm. I forgot what they call it, but it was pretty interesting how there's worlds within worlds within worlds, and then even on a mescopular level. So since I'm into conspiracies, or I believe we live in a simulation, and this could be one of those things where, like in Men in Black, our entire universe is on the marble, on the head of a cat. It was very interesting to watch this movie, and the bad guys and the controversy surrounding him, the actor, but it doesn't matter. I enjoyed it. So, if we have to go to stupid old rankings like 1 through 10, I'm going to give it a 7. I kind of enjoyed it all, and it didn't bother me, and I'm sure there were parts that I was like, don't make sense, but again, it's a simple man's review, but I did watch Quantumania, so I got caught up to date on the Marvel Universe. There's another movie I didn't list that I watched as well this past month and a half, was called The Eternals, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed The Eternals more than Quantumania and all these other ones. Even though The Eternals didn't get a good review, I actually really enjoyed it. And I loved the storylines because we got to learn a lot about, 5 or 6 different Eternals, if you will. And I enjoy the acting and the storylines more so than the fighting and the big budget endings that every Marvel movie has at the final 30, 40 minutes, of CGI and everything. So I actually enjoyed The Eternals, and if I had to rate The Eternals that I watched, I didn't put it on the list, I gave that one an 8. I really enjoyed The Eternals. Now, what's up, Jimmy Velez? I watched about a month and a half ago as well, around the time I watched The Eternals. A Man Called Otto came out. I love Tom Hanks. I'm a Tom Hanks fan. But again, I do live in that conspiracy world, and, there's a lot of conspiracies around him, and, part of the Illuminati, the elites, the Epstein list, whatever, if you will. All that BS aside, I grew up loving, Tom Hanks for the most part, especially, since Forrest Gump. But every movie he plays, pretty much recently, is the same guy. It is Tom Hanks. He did that movie where he was in a post-apocalyptic world, forget the name of it, where he had a robot with him, but he's always that guy. This movie, he reverts back to the Forrest Gump type human, but think of a more curmudgeoned Forrest Gump in the future. If Forrest Gump got a little bit smarter, but realized what the world is really about, and everything didn't go right, that's who Otto is. It's based off of a book, but I enjoyed the family, the storylines of him being a lonely man after losing his wife, and then basically finding a family in his neighborhood. And I kind of really dig those type of stories, because that's how I feel I live my life, where I'm just alone a lot, and I don't really communicate or hang out with a lot of people. But the neighbor's family that just moved in, the Latin Spanish family, and their children, and this cat that was in the neighborhood somehow made its way into Otto's world. It's a really, really heart-wrenching story. I got a huge heart. I literally love this movie because, spoiler alert, for almost all these films I mentioned today, Otto felt like he was at the last end of his life, and he didn't really want to go on. And the neighbors and the family and his friendships that came along with this film helped him see the light and want to live for other people. And then he made another family. And I freaking love those stories, because I'm lonely just as much. So I recommend A Man Called Otto. Again, if you got a big heart, you're an empathetic soul, and you like heartwarming stories of love and stuff like that, I really, really dug it. I really, really dug it. I'm going to give Man Called Otto an 8.5. It would have gotten a 9, but I'm a little sour on certain things Tom Hanks does. Plus, if he's on the Epstein list, which I'm sure he is. Then there seems to be a new movie about a product every month nowadays. They're taking products that were well loved in the 80s, 90s, or whenever, and they're creating a whole movie around it. They did it with the movie Tetris. They create TV series as well about a certain product or a video game or a this or that. And it's taken the entertainment industry by storm because they really don't have no other products. I mean, they have no other storylines to develop. But on certain occasions, they are creating a movie which is like a documentary movie, but set with actors where you can learn about the history of a person or a product or this or that. And in this case of the movie called Air, it's about the making of Nike's Michael Jordan shoes and how that became the leading factor for Nike to lead the industry, to take over Converse, Adidas, and whatnot in the early 80s. And this gives you the storyline of, I forgot the guy's name, Sammy something, that, courted a young Michael Jordan right out of college into the into the NBA, with only about $250,000, and they created the brand of Air Jordan. And this is they call it true story, but I don't know how much things were fabricated or stuff like that. But it stars, again, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, who reunited. Then we got a Chris Rock in there. Everybody loves Jason Bateman. And then, Viola Davis plays Michael Jordan's mom. And one interesting note about this movie, it's enjoyable, but all the characters talk the same for the most part. But I like the chemistry because they're all good friends in real life. And I'm not really a Michael Jordan shoe fan. I don't follow the scheme, but I do love the storyline of how it was possibly created and brought to the light. And then there's a couple of problems with this film. Is they want it to be so nostalgic that like every 5 minutes there's a hit 80s song. Like every 5 minutes, oh, I remember that song. Oh, I remember that song. Every time they change scenes or they go to a new building or they go to somebody's house or they're, it's, oh, great. They want to keep reminding you, bam, bam. I think they spent all their money on songs for the movie. But some of the songs are enjoyable. They make me cheer. But it got a little overwhelming and a little annoying. And another thing, they don't even show Michael Jordan at all in this movie because they didn't want it to be about Michael Jordan. He probably makes 5 appearances throughout the film and then has no lines. So they focused more so on the mother and the people behind the scenes. And it's pretty interesting. And there's a lot of basketball references because I was collecting basketball cards around that time. I never got a Michael Jordan. Goodness gracious. No, I didn't start collecting basketball till 89 or 90. And then these cards that are worth valued a lot of money are from like 84, 85. But to give it a rating, Air, I enjoyed it. Some of the nostalgia was great. But it got a little overwhelming, and I appreciate watching Matt Damon and Ben Affleck whenever they're on screen. And I loved seeing Chris Rock not play an idiot trying to be too funny actor. He's trying to do more serious roles, and, I don't know how far he'll go because he's got the facial features and the voice kind of like me that, you get stool pigeon, you get pigeonholed. But I really enjoyed this film, and I'm gonna give it a 7. I gotta watch Tetris very, very soon. Peter Brady, we all had those type of cards once. I need some J's. Yeah, I don't have any Air Jordans. I got the Kobe's, and I need to sell them because I need money. So if you guys want to donate or super chat, I got my Venmo donations down below, or a super chat. Venmo gets to me quicker, and I'll become friends with you. But yeah, I gotta sell my Kobe Bryant Spaceman shoes. Maybe a couple $100. I don't know. They're barely used. All right, then the next movie that I did watch, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and I wanted to see what they were gonna do with this movie. I mean, since the main actor passed away. And it was he passed away right before production started. So the rumors are they had to go and rewrite a script and all that and change it all up, within a month and a half before they actually started shooting. Then there was some injuries on set. There's a little bit of controversy, this and that. But long story short, this is a good sequel. It's a really, really enjoyable sequel. And the girl that, I forget all the names, forgive me, simple reviews. But the girl and she had to take the range of the Black Panther throughout this movie. The movie was based upon her and her relationship and the kingdom. And she did a heck of a job. I don't know her name. I forget the character's name again. Doesn't mean I don't like it. Just that's how my brain works. I'm not really that intelligent speaking of everything unless I write a script. And, right after I watch a movie, I need to, truthfully, to be more professional, I need to write a script after I watch a movie. And then I got to use juicier words like envelopment, development, shashi, or, entanglement, or whatever. I'm not one of those, man. I'm just a stupid boy that likes movies. But the enemy in this film was a gentleman named Namor. I remember him from comic books. I think he was in other comic books besides the Black Panther ones. Namor. I remember him from some other comic books because I collect comic books. But I really enjoyed the storyline of the enemy, or of the Namor people, like the water people, the Atlanteans, let's call them, the Atlantis people. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty scary enemy. I mean, he had wings on his feet like Air Jordans. And every time they were on screen, man, it's pretty enjoyable. And then there was a couple of moments of real heart-wrenching feelings, like the funeral for Black Panther. Then the moment where, the mother is realizing she's almost losing everybody in her family. And it's pretty good, pretty enjoyable. So long story short, let's just move on because I'm not that best at reviewing. I'm gonna give Wakanda Forever a 7.5 to 8. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Did I have any problems with it? Not that I can remember, so that means it wasn't that big of a problem for me. So let me know your guys' thoughts as well with each of these projects. And now into another big budget blockbuster that came out, Avatar: The Way of Water. When I saw the first one, what was it, 2008, 2009? Again, I saw it in 3D and I saw it in 2D. And I loved the 3D one. That was the only 3D movie that I've ever saw that didn't hurt my eyes when I left from that theater, to be quite honest with you. And I loved the colors, and the storyline was so simple. A new universe, they got cloned, they put themselves into these creatures to mine the minerals on that planet to bring them back to Earth. But the military-industrial complex is basically killing what they would call savages or whatever. It's a simple storyline. Boy falls in love with girl, military taking over, a planet basically. It's all been done before. But Avatar, the first one, was a great movie, and it redefined motion pictures like The Matrix did in terms of CGI or special effects and storyline. And James Cameron really did a good job with the first Avatar. So, the stories are, this Avatar took 10 years to make, and it was actually in pre-production officially for like 6 years or 7 years, and it was actually in production for 4 to 5 years. And it took 3 years to film. Then probably another 1.5 years of special effects, or 2 years of special effects. So when you think about this movie, Avatar: The Way of Water, when you think about it from that standpoint, man, and the budget was somewhere along the range of, they said, 500 to 600 million altogether. And I'm assuming that's with, publicity. A movie is supposed to make 3 times their money back. So if a budget of a movie is 100 million, you got to add another 50 to 100 million on top of that for publicity or press or whatever. But if a movie's $100 million to make, it needs to make $300 million to break even. Why? Because movie theaters take like 45% or 50%, like half. So if a film supposedly cost $100 million to make, it needs to make 300, because the first 100 made the movie, the second 100 went to the theaters, then the third 100 goes to publicity or overshoots or delays or whatever. So it needs to make $100 million movie, needs to make 3 times its value. It's the same thing in business, in restaurants. It needs to make 3 times its value to break even. So when you hit a 4 times the value of a movie, that $400 million range, then the movie made $100 million. So if a movie was made for 100 and it makes 400, it basically made $100 million. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird to think about it. But this movie, again, the rumors were it was around $600 million altogether. So that would mean it would need to make $1.8 billion to break even. But the mainstream rumors are that this movie altogether took $425 million. So it would still need to make $1.2 billion to break even. And I think it has broken even as of now. So now let's get into the movie review. This movie is well done. This is a great return to Pandora. This movie gave me everything I wanted. And it's 2.5, 3.5 hours long, whatever long it is. And I was worried about that going in. But the first hour or so, they're reliving the family aspect, and you're seeing Pandora and all its wonders, and it gets a little tedious, but I'm enjoying it because I finally want to see Pandora as opposed to just the military landscape that I remember from the first one and the little patches of the jungle in Pandora. So this one, they got children, and I mean, I don't have to get into all those things, but the first hour or so, I was into it. It's a little boring, but I was into it. After an hour and a half, basically the halfway point, when they went, the enemies were established again. They were coming to Earth. They were being hunted. I was all in. Again, that's what a good movie will do to you. I was all in. And, man, the final 45 minutes, the ending, the fight scene on the water with these creatures and these children, how do they do that? Like, literally, I have to, a couple of times I paused the movie. I was like, what am I watching? The water world and everything was beautiful. Everything I saw on screen, the animals and everything. And I have a little bit of a familiarity with creatures from other worlds. As CGI in that movie Evolution that I did. We worked with Phil Tippett, one of the great, CGI and monster makers out there, Phil Tippett. And he created some amazing creatures for the Evolution world of the movie I was in. And this movie built upon whatever all these other people did. It blew me away. I didn't know how they did it. Some of the special effects, the actors. I mean, you would think, the actors are in suits with little balls, and they got, the blue screen and the balls, and they're acting. And then they're going to put, aesthetics on top of them. But it's 2.5 to 3 hours of everybody. I mean, almost 98% of the people on screen were not in human form. They were not in human form. They were almost all blue or green or in the Pandora world. That is a lot of special effects. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of CGI on every shot, every scene for 3.5 hours. Man, they reinvented it and they did a hell of a job. Again, there's movies where you're like, oh, it's CGI, it's CGI. I forgot. I was in that world. It was well done. There's a human character throughout the film as well to give you that sense of love and respect. And each character in this film had their own like attitude or how they deal with life, and then a lot of little problems here and there, and the dynamics of the bad versus the good. Should they make this decision? Should they do that? You know, fathers, love, respect, family. Long story short, guys, it blew me away. Avatar is, from the words of Jeremy Jahns, is awesome-tacular. I give this movie a 10. It probably is a 9. You know, and 10 would have to be like the greatest of all time, like a 10 plus. But I'm going to give this movie a solid 9 plus, like just at the bottom of 10, because I enjoyed every minute of it. And I actually want to watch it again. And that freaked me out. I didn't expect that. Wow. Then, you know, I always have to go back to my simple movies, my comedy movies. And a lot of comedy movies are not being made anymore. And they can't be made like Dude, Where's My Car that I was in and stuff like that. You don't see movies like that really anymore. Comedy movies, again, they get profiled, or, you know, they get woke or this or that, or they just can't make jokes anymore. And this movie dealt with handicapped or multiple sclerosis. I forgot the correct term, forgive me. But it's a movie called Champions from Bobby Farrelly, the Farrelly brothers, which I truly love. And they used to give us some really, really grossed out comedy from their perspective. But, again, I don't know the right term, but forgive me. The handicapped community, or I think it's muscular dystrophy or something like that. But they have done movies like that before, the Farrelly brothers. So they have a long history. I don't know it, but they have a long history with those type of handicapped individuals. They made a movie with another friend of mine that was in it many years ago. I forget the name. But I guess this is like an update to that story. Champions, about a basketball team with handicapped individuals. And, you know, how a coach got basically fired from like a good college team. And then he's being forced on Federal Reserve, not Federal Reserve, whatever they call it, where you have to do your penance after you go to court and they sentence you. He has to coach the team of these handicapped individuals, and he finds like a girlfriend through the adventure, and literally like starts a new family and a hometown team, and it's really, really fun. And you fall in love with all of these young, I don't know if they're really young, but they might be 20, 25 years of age, but the handicapped kids or adults or whatever, again, I don't know all the words. I hate tiptoeing around it, but I'm saying the wrong things. I'm not that well versed. But I enjoy these underdog movies where people just find themselves, and I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, was it the best? There was some controversial jokes in there that I think were hidden. Did it offend me? Did I get offended at any of the people in there? Did they put in the cliche, handicap jokes? They did at multiple times, but they did it with class. And I had a good time. I was rooting on everybody. And it's one of those underdog stories that I really liked. I'm going to give this movie a 7. So I watched that one. Then I love wartime movies and stuff like that. And I love political thrillers and all that. And I love war movies, even though I hate war. But I just like seeing the conflict within all of that stuff. And Guy Ritchie came out with a movie called The Covenant that stars Jake G. About a man and his interpreter or team. And one of them saves the other one's life. The interpreter saves the main character's life at one point in the movie, but then he goes back home to the United States. But the interpreter is being hunted, and he's still in Afghanistan, and the soldier feels really bad because he wants to save that interpreter's life because he saved his life. And then he goes through all the withdrawal, and he needs to go back and figure out a way to save and to bring that interpreter and his family to America to save their lives because he's going to be killed and hunted from the Afghan or the Taliban and stuff like that. This movie was very, very well done. The acting in it is superb. Jake Gyllenhaal never ceases to amaze me. And Dar Shalom, the interpreter, you fall for these characters. But with Guy Ritchie movies, they're a little bit long-toothed. Meaning there's scenes that don't need to be there to convey that feeling that they're having. So there's certain moments where, whether it be Jake Gyllenhaal or any other characters in the movie are struggling or they're feeling some sort of way, Guy Ritchie puts in a long, slown-out process where if I'm feeling bad or mad or sad, he puts on that exact type of music for that moment, but then he slows down the camera, and then there's like a 5-minute wide shot of how I'm feeling sad with the music in the background. It's like, okay, Guy Ritchie, we get it. He's hurting. We get it. And the problem is, it don't happen once. It don't happen twice. It happens like 5 times throughout the film. Like 3-minute long segments of where there's just a slow camera, a slow action, the music plays in the background, and we have to live in that feeling for like 2 to 3 minutes on 5 different occasions. But that is the Guy Ritchie brand of filmmaking, just like Michael Bay has his own brand of filmmaking and certain things they do in every movie. That is what Guy Ritchie does, and he has to add a lot of them in the film. It probably was 3 times, but it felt like 5. And I'll be honest with you, Guy Ritchie, you can do it just once, and it'll be enough. If I have to rate The Covenant, I gave it a solid 7. I enjoyed it. It was intense. Now, looking at a movie that's not mainstream, and that's not very, very popular, but I love space. I love space movies. I love all of that stuff. I wish space was real. Again, I'm questioning everything, whether you guys agree or not, whatever. I question, if we're a spinning ball, if we're a globe, if we're a flat plane, if we live under a dome, the firmament. Again, I have all these questions that I'm not getting answers to, and I don't believe the scientists, and I don't care what you guys believe. But I have critical thinking, and I always wanted to be an astronaut. That was one of my dreams. I love space. I love science fiction movies. I still love it to this day, whether I don't even know if space is real. This movie came out that I wasn't aware of called Crater. In the vein of Space Camp in the 80s for kids in space, Disney, that basically created space. Think of it, their Mission to Mars rides and all that stuff in the 50s and stuff like in the 60s with Disney and NASA. You guys can get into that conspiracy if you're interested. But this movie called Crater, it's about, they have a mining operation officially on the moon in the future, and these kids are born on this crater, not on the crater, like in this mining institution that's on the moon, and they want to visit a moon crater that one of the kids' fathers took him to, but they're confined to a building, because the moon really supposedly has no atmosphere, blah blah blah. But these kids go on an adventure to take a kid to a crater that his father visited with his mother, and took him to, because this kid is being rewarded after his father's death on working on the moon. This kid is being rewarded to go to another planet, to where he doesn't have to work or be on the moon anymore. I guess when their fathers died and they gave a lifetime of work to the moon, the family members or the deceased member can go to this planet with, I guess, amazing stuff, a better living than living on the moon. You guys can read the synopsis and do your own. But this movie, in my opinion, since I'm a conspiracy theorist And since we are supposedly going back to the moon in the future, which I don't believe we ever went to, again, these are just things that I think about. But if NASA faked going to the moon with Hollywood, like the rumors are, and NASA is fake and space is fake and it's all created, and space, they say, is the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Thank you, Red Hot Chili Peppers. But almost every movie nowadays is from the moon. Have you guys noticed that? There's commercials where they're playing golf on the moon. Now there's all these TV series that came out maybe 2 years ago that are going to the moon or about to hit the moon, or they're from the moon. Now you got Disney, one of the best creators of space, making a movie called Crater, where they're all on the moon and in vehicles and stuff like that, where they can see Earth from afar and stuff like that. Well, we are supposedly going back to the moon, and I forgot, it's called Artemis, and we're supposedly to make an official return back to the moon by 2028. And then I think there's a trip to the moon in 2024, or to orbit the moon. So they're going to, we're going to, in real life, we're going to request the video footage of the orbit to the moon if they do land on the moon. And we're not going to believe all these mistakes from the previous moon landing. So long story short, the world, if we do go back to the moon, we're expecting HD, we're expecting everything, film, whatever, videos, pictures, to look real. So if it is being faked, what's the best way for NASA, whoever else these companies are, to fake moon? Get in bed with Hollywood, and then Hollywood is basically the testing center. So they create a soundstage. They make it look like the moon. They use special effects. They create TV series. They create movies. They create CGI special effects. All so they can fake it 5 years from now. Yes, the effects won't be the same as they were in Crater, but people will be like, man, it looked pretty real in Crater, and that was in 4K. So we can use that technology, and we can learn what works and what looks real on film, so the public will believe we're actually going to the moon. Long story short, I believe all of these movies and TV shows are a testing ground to figure out how they can fake it even further, to make it look as real as possible, because there's so many conspiracy theorists out there that they need to test the technology, they need to test the moon, and prove all the lies from the previous moon landing, and they just have to figure it out. And that's what I think all these movies and TV shows are doing. They're also brainwashing all of us to think that's what's real. So if we see it in these movies and TV shows, and it looks really good in 4K, just like the Sandra Bullock movie and everything, we're going to go, man, that's how space really is. So we're going to tend to believe whatever lie they possibly give us in the future, because we're being brainwashed now by movies like Crater. But that being said, all conspiracies beside, if space is real and there really is a moon, what did I think of this movie Crater? Because it dealt with kids on the moon, and it went back to my childhood, where I always wanted to go in space or see the moon and have an adventure like that, kind of like the Goonies as well, on the moon. I give this movie a 7. I enjoyed it, even though a lot of it, again, I understand the brainwashing. I enjoyed it, and I wish that the moon and everything was like they say it was, and I could be on a crater like in this movie. That's just my opinion. When was the last time we were on the moon? Apparently we went to the moon 4 times with the Apollo missions. So, yeah. Yeah, Peter Brady said 68 or 69. Somewhere around the 70s or whatever, according to the fake statistics of NASA. I think, and then Jimmy says, I think we need a spacesuit to breathe out there. Again, they call it outer space, guys, right? And remember there was a movie called Inner Space? We're actually living, and this is what I truly believe. We, right now, are in outer space. People don't understand that. Well, you mean we're in space and we're floating? No. Again, depending on whatever Earth really is, we're like in the inner space. And then outer space would be outside of Antarctica and the other places that we can't see, that they hide from us. That would be outer space. It's spaces outside. And then whatever they call the ISS, it's called low Earth orbit. We've never been below low Earth orbit because you can't. There's something there, whether it be water or whatever, or a dome, or water in a dome, or plasma. There's something that blocks us in. There's something that blocks us in. So outer space ain't real. That's just from my perspective. And you guys ever notice why rockets go like this? And they always take off from Florida, or Texas by water. And rockets, instead of going up at an angle, they always go. Why? So they can disappear from frame. They turn the cameras to where it looks like they're going up. And then so that the rocket can fall in water. Or the astronauts or whoever can fall in water if they're really in there. Then you guys remember SpaceX? You guys remember seeing the SpaceX launch where there was all that blue behind it? The SpaceX, and there's all this blue lights while it's going across the sky at an angle. Then there's all this blue stuff from the tip of the SpaceX to the back. All you see is blue, like blue lightning, blue special effects. That's because they're trying to go past the plasma or whatever's above us. They're testing it. They're going in. They figured out a way to get in it, and they're trying to go past it. So these missiles are testing it, how strong it is. That's why everything looked blue from behind. And again, the sky is blue. Why? Because it's water or it's a blue plasma or something. Again, this is stuff I'm into that I love. Let's move on. Let's talk about the next movie. And I'm not a big horror movie fan, but I am a fan of The Purge. And I've continued this series, so I figured let's continue it. Let me watch The Forever Purge. I thought it was going to be more like a Western. But this is after The Purge returns, after probably a 10-year hiatus, or with the Founding Fathers. And then it kind of happens in like Texas and stuff. And The Purge comes back after like a hiatus. And then a new faction, not like white supremacists, but it's like a white supremacist of purgers create a group, and then they call it the Forever Purge because it's not only going to last for 12 hours, they're going to continue the purge from the 12 hours into the day, into the nights, and they're going to take their country back. So that was the politics of the Forever Purged. And pretty interesting. And there's a lot of good deaths and everything from the people. It's a basic chase movie. And I don't really have to get into too much details, but I enjoy the Purge franchise. I don't know if it's considered horror anymore. But if I have to grade it, I'm going to grade it a 7. I enjoyed it. I stayed till the end. Even though it looks like the budgets are going down and down and down. And they're probably going to have a million Purge movies, and they're going to milk it till it's dry. So that gets a little bit of annoying. Then I caught up on Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I enjoyed the first Shazam movie. So I was actually looking forward to this movie, and I wanted to see the kids grown up in their superhero outfits. And yeah, the enemies in this one, the gods, if you will, that came back to Earth to take over, just wish-washy 1990s villains. Didn't scare me, didn't really care. But I enjoyed the family aspect of the kids but they showed them more so as superheroes, like when they're changed into their superhero personas. They showed them more than the kids, and I would have liked to see more kid-like adventures. But overall, it was a great family-friendly movie to enjoy, and the history of Shazam, it was a good one. Even though they wanted Black Adam, and that was another film I watched recently, Black Adam. I enjoyed Black Adam. I give Black Adam a 7 out of a 10. Long story short, DC Universe is making decent, if you're really bored, watch them type movies, and Shazam is one of those. I'm going to give Shazam a 7. Again, I can't think of any flaws. I don't want to get it too in depth. I've already been online an hour. Then I watched a documentary called Michael J. Fox Still, and it chronicles his life with, I think he has muscular dystrophy, or Lou Gehrig's disease, or forget the actual term for it, forgive me, multiple sclerosis, I think that's him, yeah. But I'm a big Michael J. Fox fan, of course, Back to the Future and whatnot, and this guy is still fighting, and every day's a struggle, but he still gets up and does it. And he does it in a well-meaning manner. And one thing this movie or documentary does right is whenever he's talking about something he went through or how he's feeling at a certain point of his life or an experience that he's having, they cut back to films or TV shows and they show clips of what he did to do that exact moment. So if he's like, I woke up today and then I had a fall because I couldn't stand on my feet while I was trying to get exercise, and, you know, it hurt me really bad or something like that, and I can't believe my wife, you know, sticks around for this stuff, then they'll show a clip from a TV show where he'll be like, oh, you love me. That's why you won't leave me. You know, and they'll show a clip like that from all of his shows. Then they go into a little bit of the history and the storylines behind the scenes of Back to the Future, Family Ties, and other projects like that. Then you see his family, his wife who stuck by him, his kids, and all the fights and the struggles they've had to go through with this disease. And it's pretty beautiful. It's pretty beautiful and inspiring. I don't have as bad of a disease, or I have a disease that I know of, but I struggle with health issues, whether they're truthful or not, or it's all in my head. I definitely have a lot of health issues, and every day to wake up is a struggle for me lately. And if he can do it, I cannot complain. He has some real issues. So it was very inspiring to me, to say the least. I really recommend watching Still. Love you, Mike. You gotta run. Love your movie reviews. Keep on keeping on. Thank you, Peter Brady. Have a blessed day of life. Steve-O, yeah, I was talking about how the rockets curve today. Rich the Beer Guzzler, or how can the sun have fire? Because in space there is no air and fire needs air. It's more radioactive, I think the sun is, but I love your questions. That we need more people like that to question reality or life. All right, now Disney made a TV series called American Born Chinese, and this kind of is like the Marvel movies of Doctor, whatever that guy's name is, Doctor Strange, with that Asian universe that's kind of in there. They reinvented another Asian universe where this kid is basically like a chosen one, and they have a realm of gods, and it's an upper realm of heaven, and it's an interesting take, like a high school storyline of a kid going on adventures with another kid that's the, you know, exchange student or whatever, and he has powers, and he's the son of an immortal. It's intense and in depth, but it's an enjoyable series. And again, I like these type of shows. American Born Chinese. It's good to watch. I'll be honest with you, the main actor, not the son of the god, but the main actor that kind of becomes one of the god-like creatures, or not creatures, but like characters. Uh, he doesn't have a lot of fluidity in his acting. He's like a one-faced person. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you like it, you root for him, but he doesn't got range, and that's the only thing that bothered me. Every other actor throughout this entire film had range, but the main kid. There's two kids in there, but the main kid that it revolves around, I don't know. But I enjoyed the fight scenes, watching the culture, and watching these two like realms of heaven and earth, and how earth is needed for heaven. It's pretty enjoyable. It's pretty fun. I grade this TV series a 7. Again, almost all my stuff is going to be graded a 7, if you will. Then I watched Bupkish. That's the series by Pete Davidson that apparently gets all the women because he's got a huge penis. Whatever. And he got famous for being famous now. He is interesting. He is funny. He is from the comedy circuit, the SNL circuit. And he's doing some movies and stuff like that. And now they have a series, again, just like he had a film called The King of Staten Island that was based about him and his life and his mother. There's now a TV series on Peacock, and where he's peacocking. Again, it's about him, his family, his life again, and how he's a slacker and does nothing, and then it revolves around his fame and everything he's going through while trying to bond with his family. But there's a dick joke in every episode about how he's got a big penis, and they smoke a lot, they do a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol, and he's trying to make it in Hollywood, but he's not respected as an actor because he's famous now for only being famous. I don't know why I watched it, because I'm a fan of SNL. Long story short, Bupkish is like a 5. Watch it if you have to. Doesn't do anything for me. Doesn't make me think better of him or worse of him in any way. I mean, he's like just there. Then I was actually really excited to watch the Muppets Mayhem. I grew up with the Muppets. I loved every one of them. Fozzie Bear was one of my favorites. And then also Animal was one of my favorites. My father loved Animal. We used to watch the Muppets and laugh. They used to have a TV show, I think it was Sunday nights, called The Muppet Show on CBS at like 7 or 8 o'clock on Sunday night. And we would watch it religiously. So the Muppets had a TV series a few years back that it ran for like 1 or 2 seasons, didn't do too well. But now this series was focusing on the band, Dr. Tooth and the Electric Mayhem, the actual band. Because you don't know much of the lore of the Mayhem or the Electric Mayhem band. So this TV series on Disney brought back those characters from the band, and we get a whole storyline that they need to make their first studio album. They had a contract, they need to make their first studio album, and they basically go off from the road and they make their studio album and all the hijinks that ensue. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, maybe I was in a good mood or I wanted to relive my childhood. I enjoyed it. I was excited. I watched one episode after the next. There's 10 episodes. I watched them all in 5 hours or whatever it was. And I just had a good time. And I know every Mayhem character now a lot more than I ever did. Like the history of them and their backstory. And I just loved it. I mean, we got Dr. Tooth. We got Sergeant Floyd Pepper. We got Zoot. We got Janice for sure. We got Lips. And then Animal. Look, no matter where you are in life, if you can't find excitement to get into some Muppets where they become real to you and they don't really just look like Muppets, pretty damn enjoyable. Then there's a few cameos from other Muppets and a lot of celebrities and musicians. I had a good time. I'm going to rate The Muppets Mayhem an 8, as in it was dang fun. All right, then one TV series that finished its run after, I think, 10 seasons was The Goldbergs. I watched the finale of that one. I've been a fan of this show forever, and it was heartwarming to watch the controversy with the father on the show be replaced. I am technically close or friends with Adam Goldberg, the creator of the series. He produced a couple of projects and donated and supported me. And we were trying to get me as a cameo on some of his projects, but it just didn't happen due to procedures or vaccines or policies or whatever it was. But long story short, I'm a huge fan of the Goldbergs. Every episode has a story and a feeling at the end with a song, and it just makes you like want to go back to the 80s. And we never found out any day that or any year that he was actually in throughout the entire run of the series. But it's a very, very fun, family-friendly show to binge watch, to get into, to have a few laughs. And every storyline has love and respect and a family getting together, and it will be missed. And speaking of the Muppets, I forgot to mention this. The Muppets Mayhem was also produced by Adam Goldberg, and every episode of the Muppets is like the Goldbergs, where they have like an ending with a musical moment, and it felt like a rehash of what worked for the Goldbergs, but with the Muppets. The family-oriented feeling and all that. So, the Muppets and the Goldbergs are the same, just with Muppets, from my perspective. Then I just finished Manifest yesterday. Story of, people. It's like in the vein of Lost. I was a fan of Lost. And Manifest ended where all of a sudden they take a plane trip. There's something, an event that happens on the plane. Then the plane shows up back on Earth, and now 5 years have passed. Now all these passengers, they just appeared, and then they're like, what happened to 5 years? And their families are all different. Some people moved on, found different relationships. They called them all dead or missing. And now they all came back, and they got to find out what happened. Where did those 5 years go? And then they all start having callings to help each other and to try to figure out the mystery of what happened with Flight 828. So, that ended, and spoiler alert, I don't care about giving it away. It's not the best show. Lost was better for me in that terms, but the ending of Lost, a lot of people had issues with it. And I think they did die in Lost, and they all ended up in between heaven and hell in Lost, like in an outside realm or world or universe with their souls. And Manifest kind of did the same thing, but it was the story of God and judgment. So the ending of Manifest was basically one of judgment and God and how you can atone for your sins and your problems and to be judged. And they all came back through time, not all of them, but they all came back, and then the story started again from where it began. And again, I told you guys, spoiler alert, they go back to where it all began as if nothing has ever happened. Meaning the plane never disappeared and all that. But now there are still missing passengers from the plane that either died from the previous incarnation or not. So there's a possible another storyline. But it was enjoyable. It was a good ending. It didn't leave me going, I don't understand it. At least it left me going, it's a story of God and judgment. And, they all came back. So, but this last season, the writing was so bad. There's so many mistakes. A character in one scene will be like, where's Jimmy? Where's Jimmy? He's missing. And then the next scene is the same day, like 20 minutes later. Literally 20 minutes later, and then Jimmy's right next to them. And then they're going over, a clue. Oh, maybe we can do this. Where was Jimmy? Where did Jimmy go? You made it a big plot point that Jimmy's gone. But now he's in that scene, and he's there all of a sudden. Huh? And nobody got a problem with it? I'm sure it was editing or this or that, but it is really, really bad. Boy, I talk a lot. It's already been online an hour. My goodness, talking about nothing. Then I love shows like The West Wing, and shows like that, and political shows. I used to love The Newsroom. That only ran for 2 or 3 years. The Newsroom. So I recently got into Madam Secretary. They could call it the woke version of The West Wing. But I got into it. I enjoyed it. I've met Taya Leona through David Duchovny. And I enjoyed the story of her going from secretary to Madam President. Spoiler alert. And I liked seeing all the little political concepts in every episode. Because a lot of the storylines in these episodes from 2017, 16, 18 are still relevant. The actual stuff that was happening in an episode then is literally happening still right now. Whether that was a precursor to the future, but it's funny. I'll be watching an episode from 2018, and a bombing or something would happen, and I'm like, that just happened yesterday on the news. That exact storyline, or that exact political problem, or that country that needs sanctions because of this or that. I was like, that just happened yesterday or a couple days ago. It was really, really on point with that type of news and stuff. Very, very interesting. And I don't know how truthful it is, but it's a good look pre-Trump. Or no, this was made during Trump. There are a lot of little Trump storyline type characters in there. But it's a good look at Washington as a business. It's a good look at Washington because it's a business. It's interesting. At basically running the country, and the country is being run as a business. That's all I could say about Madam Secretary. Then the season finale of Succession came out the other day, and that is a mind fuck of a show. That show fucks with your mind. The father is an evil genius, a billionaire that runs a company. Everybody is vying for that company. Everybody wants to be loved. The children, the cousins, the family. Everybody's, bypassing everybody else. Everybody's lying, cheating, and it's well written. It makes you feel intelligent. And then you're also like, wow, these people are intense, and it's very scary. And you want to find out who gets the company, how's it all going to play out. Yeah, it's a good show. Succession is a really good show. Well written. If you want to feel intelligent, this is one of those shows that you can really get into. But the only problem I have with Succession, I know each character has different flaws or this or that to their character. It seems like they almost all talk the same. That's the problem with The West Wing. They all talk fast. They're all very, very 100% smart, except for minus 1 or 2 characters like Tom or Craig in Succession. But they all, for the most part, talk the same. Because that means, one writer is writing for those characters and doesn't give too much individualism to each character. But there are episodes about their individualism of each character. And so you learn it, so then by the time other episodes come around, even though they're all talking quick and they're all the same and they all got their own humor, you now know the storyline of their individualism. But it's still a great show, and I thoroughly, thoroughly recommend it. Now, I love this show. I love comedies. I love football. I love sports movies. I love sports TV shows. I love Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is a joyous movie to watch, full of heart, full of love, full of spirit. And you fall in love with this ragtag of soccer players from East Ham, or AFC Richmond. And it's just one of those feel-good shows. If you need to feel good and fall in love and go through their struggles and everything, but while having positivity and love and feeling all of the feels, Ted Lasso is one of those shows. So that ended with a finale, spoiler alert, where he went back home to America and he's going to be with his family. But he built a foundation for that team. And I love the Vegas Raiders. And I wish our team was run the way that Ted Lasso and the president ran AFC Richmond. With love, transparency, respect, and building a foundation of family and love. And they still ended up winning and creating a dynasty for that team while becoming richer in value. I wish the Raiders would do that. But nope, we decide to lie and deceitful and, disrespect family and no transparency. Ted Lasso is a great show, and I recommend it. Now, to things that I'm hoping to watch this next month coming up. You guys can recommend some stuff down below. But I think I'm gonna, whether it be in the next couple days, but I'm gonna watch Dune. I think part 2 is gonna come out next year or at the end of this year. And I remember the original and I loved it. But I heard this one is really good as well. So I'm thinking about watching Dune. I like that science fiction stuff. Plus, water is the future in terms of money and, how they're going to... Water's going to disappear. They're going to hoard it. And pretty interesting. So I'm going to watch Dune, I think. Then I love TV series that I just want to binge watch a bunch of episodes while I'm lying down. So one of the series I was thinking about going back to, it's a few years old, and I know a few friends in it, and I auditioned for it a couple of times, never got a job. But I know some other actor friends of mine that were in it as well, or certain episodes. But I was thinking about watching Community. I kind of enjoy stuff like that, and I like binge watching. So I was thinking about going out and checking out Community, watching all those episodes, just to hopefully have a few laughs every episode and falling in love with another franchise. But another franchise that I've neglected for so many years, and I love the writer or the creator of Seinfeld, and I love his show, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David, but I never, ever watched Seinfeld. I think at one point, maybe 10 years ago, I watched 3 episodes, and I just couldn't get into the humor. Maybe it's because it's Jewish humor, or this or that, or it wasn't relevant at the time that I watched it, but I couldn't get into it. I enjoyed Friends type stuff more, not only because I was on Friends, but I enjoyed Friends more than I did those episodes of Seinfeld. I just didn't really get into those characters after 3 episodes. But I know you probably got to watch like 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 episodes of Seinfeld to get into it. So I'm going to force myself to do that. But I love Larry David. I love his type of ironic humor. So you would think that I would like Seinfeld, but maybe Larry David, they didn't find their footing till season 2. Maybe they didn't find their footing till season 3. I don't know. But I'm thinking about getting into Seinfeld, and I'm hoping to fall in love with that franchise. Then I still want to watch John Wick 3. I love the John Wick series. I call John Wick the extension of the Matrix. Every actor that's been in the Matrix is seemingly in John Wick. And then at the end of Matrix 1, he says, I'm going to show you a world you never seen about. Maybe John Wick is in the Matrix where he wakes up as John Wick. Storyline in the Matrix. But I enjoy it. The action is nonstop. Pretty intense storyline. Keanu Reeves is a great action star. I love this franchise. I can't believe I'm not caught up to date. I think at John Wick Part 2, I think at the end, if I can remember it correctly, he was being hunted by the association or something like that, and then the butler guy or whatever, the head of the hotel or whatever, gave him like an hour or a 3-hour head start or something like that while they're all going to hunt him down. So I think that goes into John Wick 3. So I think I'm going to watch John Wick 3 the next couple days. Jimmy said you love Malcolm in the Middle. Cool. That's a good show. Steve-O, give it another shot. It gets better in season 2. Okay, I think you're talking about Seinfeld. All right, and then for the conspiracy people or the people that want to ask questions or whatever, there's a documentary that came out maybe about 8 months ago called Fluvid, Fluvid-19, and it goes a lot of in-depth interviews about, the mandates, the this, the that, about COVID. A lot of us still believe that the flu was weaponized, and they brought in a new industry and they... Long story short, check out Fluvid-19. It's on Rockfin and Fluvid-19, whatever, -19.com. I think it's like $4 or $3 to watch, or you could find it on alternative platforms. But it's a very in-depth look at all the news coverage, all the lies, all the hypocrisy, and all the deceit that's hidden, and nobody asks questions. And then they go over the number 33 to prove like that it was like some of it's a planned event and stuff like that, and the organizations behind it. And it's an interesting look at what really happened with all of that stuff. Then from the same filmmaker, he does a Flat Earth series called Level, about Flat Earth and, what the lies they believe are on space or on Earth or the globe, or all of the stuff that they tell us. Again, they don't prove Flat Earth. They just say that the Earth is not how they tell us. Don't believe the science. Don't believe the facts. And, they go into a lot of stuff in the Level series. This movie is called Level With Me. This is more so about the critical thinking of it all. And this one, they go into a conspiracy that I was really into and that I lived through. And they exposed, in my opinion, the truth. They went into the Challenger space shuttle conspiracy, where how that all played out on television, how the people that were on the space shuttle are still alive, and that we were lied to, and they go and find some of these people, and they videotape them, and they got photos, and they got proof. And then they just explore NASA and the lies and the fakeness. And I really, really enjoyed it. Again, because I'm one of those people, I question all of this. And again, if you're one of those people that just believes everything and you can't see some of these possible lies, I'm okay with that, no problem. But I really implore you, if you have any inclination to be like, I want to check it out. I want to see them prove some of the lies, from NASA or space or the Earth or the globe theory or whatever, Check out these films. I really recommend it. Again, this is on Level With Me, thefilm.com. It's also on Rockfin. You can find it sometimes on BitChute or other platforms. I think it's $3. It's by a guy named Hibbler, Sean Hibbler Productions. And he does a really good job, and I enjoy his stuff. So check it out if you're interested. Dimash, did he review Malcolm in the Middle? No, I did not. I only remember a few episodes of Malcolm in the Middle. I think I auditioned at one point for one episode, and I only remember a few episodes. I haven't watched it. But I know the story of it. And then now these are the movies that I'm really looking forward to watching this month. And it's Across the Spider-Verse. I loved the first one. I saw it barely 9 months ago, 10 months ago. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And my God, the animation, the acting, the storyline was fantastic. it just, that movie, that first one, Into the Spider-Verse, it's a joy. And this one, I am so excited for it. It's a part one of a part two. Another one comes out next year. And this one, I've seen the trailers. I know it has multiple more Spider-Mans from the Spider-Verse, you know, and then Spider-Man 2099. I bought a lot of those comic books back in the days. It's coming back. And then Spot. I remember Spot and Piggy Spider and I'm excited. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, especially of the comic books. I got a lot of the comic books still to this day. So I'm a big fan of Spider-Verse. The movie was fantastic. This one, I guess, I heard is getting good reviews. I haven't seen any bombing online. So I'm really excited to follow Gwen Stacy, Miles Morales, and see all these new Spider-Mans in Spider-Man 2099. And just fantastic. Fantastic. What a way to bring back animation, man. Then the biggest movie that I'm looking forward to that is getting bad reviews, unfortunately. Everybody review bombs everything nowadays, for the most part, is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Again, this goes in the controversy of Kathleen Kennedy ruining Star Wars, making it woman-oriented, giving the franchises to women, you know, replacing characters and ruining legacies of whatever characters for a woman in the Kathleen Kennedy universe. And apparently that's what this one looks like from the onset. And it's getting review bombed as such, with the young lady trying to replace an old Indy. And then even in the trailer, I enjoyed it and I'm thrilled and I love the Indy franchise. I'm the biggest fan in the world. And I really loved all the Indy films. But unfortunately, in today's world, we have to look at everything with the woke ideology, the women taking over ideology, the Me Too ideology. And I can't help but see that. But all that being aside, I just don't want Indy to be taken out in a bad fashion. I want his legacy to be respected and admired through this storyline. And they are going to show a bunch of young Indies, or earlier CGI Indy or deep-faked Indy. And they looked really good. But you got to think to yourself, could not have anybody written a storyline for an elderly Indiana Jones to go on an adventure to end all the adventures at his old age? And where, you know, they can bow out of the franchise without giving it to Mutt or to this woman. That's a conversation for another day. But I'm a big fan, and from the trailers that I've seen, the stunts, they look Indy-esque from what I remember, and I'm thoroughly pleased. And some of the quips and the little jokes reminded me of Indy-esque. And there's almost a woman in every Indiana Jones film that is smart, or Indy's falling in love with or learning to love, and that fights back with Indy in a confrontational fashion of some sort. You know, he married Marion Ravenwood, but every movie had that beautiful woman for Indy to coalesce with. You know, doesn't mean he falls in love with his, I don't know if she's his niece or a protege, but every movie had a woman aspect of it. Not that they were taking over the franchise, but they were alongside for the ride, and Indy needed that woman alongside for the ride to bring the best out of Indiana. You know, to bring out that love, that faith, and that respect. And again, a lot of people don't like the third one because they went with aliens, and, you know, I liked it. I really thought it explained everything. But again, I'm a different type person. I believe all the artifacts, you know, from the Ark to the skulls to all of that, it's all alien technology. And can aliens exist on Earth if space is fake? Yes. Aliens could be in outer space, on other sides of our plane of existence. But I liked, and if space is real and there are aliens out there and they do visit other worlds, what's not to say that the aliens didn't create Earth and put their skulls and their bodies there as archaeologists? They are the first archaeologists, aliens. You get it? I don't know. But that was my feeling. I loved all the Indiana Jones films. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. It was one of the first movies my father ever took me to that I watched in theaters, and I loved it to this day. So I'm going to go into this with nothing but love and respect for the franchise. I'm not going to try to witness every bad joke, every woke ideology. Is Kathleen Kennedy giving it over to a woman? Are they replacing Indiana Jones? I'm just going to go into this going, I want to see the last adventure from Indiana through his eyes. And I guess they do time travel or something like that in this episode. And I want to see how well they do with that. And I guess we got Nazis back in it, so that's good. People didn't like the Russians. But the enemy of Indiana Jones in this movie is not the Nazis or the Russians. It's time. That's why it's called the Dial of Destiny. It's time. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I hope they do it justice. And yeah, I'm really concerned. So, if I had to rank my favorite Indiana Jones movies in order, I'm going to do it right now, before watching this one. All right, the first one is the best, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Fantastic movie, can never be duplicated. One of the best in the history of filmmaking. Then, the next one would be The Last Crusade. I enjoyed that adventure so much with the Holy Grail. I enjoyed that one so much. That is on par with the religious theme that the Ark had in the first one. And I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. And that movie did a lot of goodness with the father of Indiana Jones. And time, and almost his father dying. And them building a family and relationship again. So that's where I hope this Dial of Destiny goes to. But I would rank Raiders of the Lost Ark number 1. Last Crusade number 2. Then people are going to go against me. But Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is my third favorite. Again, I liked it. For whatever reasons, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's my third favorite. Just because it was bigger and better and badder. You know, for a modern age. Then, my fourth favorite film is Temple of the Doom. Why isn't that higher? Well, that film scared the shit out of me. And I don't like horror films. And it had kids being trafficked. It had kids, it had hearts. It had, you know, seances. It had witches. It's fun. But it scared me a little too much because I was a kid as well. And the dinner scene with the bugs and everything, I just squirmed a little too much, which some would say that's a good thing. But I've never been into witches or satanic symbolism and stuff like that ever. And it had a little bit too much of that type of stuff for my liking. But it's a good Indiana Jones storyline. So that would be my fourth favorite. And I want to see what Dial of Destiny does. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really, really excited. I'm hoping I have a date. I'm hoping I'm healthy enough to literally get out of the house and go watch it at a theater. I hope I have enough money to rent an Uber. I don't know if I can get on a bus. I don't know if my health will stand up. I walk around the block once, and I'm dead. But that's personal stuff. All right, guys. You let me know your thoughts of the movies that I talked about in today's video. Let me know your reviews. Let me know your thoughts. And now let's just hang out for a couple of minutes. Ask me a couple of questions and talk about a couple of things. And then I'm going to get on out of here. This was a lot for me to make an hour and a half live stream video. Didn't have special effects. Didn't have a lot. Didn't have any music. But I hope you guys enjoy listening to me, because I need more of that on my channel. So, for anybody that's still online at 4 o'clock in the morning, let me know your thoughts, your opinions, or anything you saw, anything going on. Let me know. I'll stay on here for a couple of minutes. Please hit that thumbs up, that like, that subscribe button. I'm going to go back to a commercial. Then we'll see if there's any questions. And another way you can support me, the creator of this content, is checking out my merchandise store with the links below. We got t-shirts for sale. Anything that I got available, I'm going to get it to you. Like DonkeyLips t-shirts. You love DonkeyLips. They come in a variety of colors. Why don't you pick yourself up one? Hey, become a camper, camp on Awana. Pick up a personalized autographed photo sent to you. I also have cameos available that also come with a personalized autograph photo shout out sent to you from Cameo. And right now, limited Zeke the Plumber Plushy Nightmare t-shirts. That's right. Everything's limited. Everything's on sale. Support your boy, Michael Ray Haybauer. Links down below. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We don't got much people online. Again, I'm doing it at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's my flaw, my bad. I need to be more consistent. I need to do it at a better time, a better hour, and I'm going to try to work on that in the future. Please hit that thumbs up, that like, that subscribe button. Let me know about any films that you think I should watch in the next month, any TV series I should get into, and hopefully I'll be able to review that on another episode of Late Night Movie Reviews. Maximum Jesus, Jimmy Velez, Steve-O, Albany, everybody that was online today said hello. I love y'all. God bless. And I'm signing off. I'll see you next time. My name is Mike, and I like movies late at night. Today's review